Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. Everyone's doing it. It's Captain Marvel opening week, right? Everyone's making videos. It's all over the place, all over YouTube. You can't get around it. Captain Marvel this, Captain Marvel that, Rotten Tomatoes. Oh my goodness. I figured if you can't beat them, join them. So, first, thanks for watching, joining me on this. I'm sure I'm not going to say anything here that you haven't already heard a million times. If you're interested in hearing anything about Captain Marvel and participating in the drama, I made a video earlier on this, and I just didn't like it. Just went off ranting and didn't have any purpose or aim, and didn't even cover all the things I wanted to talk about. And this is probably going to do the same thing, so I don't really know why I'm making a second video, but I thought I'd give it another try. Um, Everyone's talking about Captain Marvel. You can't really get away from it. And I was listening to some social media, or check, don't listen to, or, well, I guess YouTube is watching, whatever. I was reading social media today, and I was hearing some people talking about the film and everything, and then the review embargo's up, so everyone's like, oh, all the ratings and stuff, and I was kind of watching the fervor build, and one thing like really stuck out to me, and what that was sort of the same thing that we're all railing against, right? One of the big controversies is that Rotten Tomatoes is shilling for Disney, and they took away the audience score, not the audience score, the what's it called, the want to see rating. Yeah, here, the want to see rating. They took it down, and there's lots of evidence out there that the mainstream media is shilling for this film. If you listen to all the big press, they're all just hyping Captain Marvel. And it's just we just know. I mean, it's so badly transparent. We can just see right through it that the most of us who aren't on this social engineering bandwagon that's trying to push this agenda, the rest of us who just want to see a good movie, we see right through it. But in our distaste and in our anger for what's happening, I see a lot of the opposite happening. I see a lot of what I saw happen with like movies like The Last Jedi, where people got so enraged about it, so maybe outraged about it, that they just became so fed up and let their disgust take over that they just wanted to hate everything about it. It's to the point now for a lot of Star Wars fans or ex-fans that they're going to hate whatever comes out of Star Wars because that's what their mind is in. And I think there's a lot of people like that for Captain Marvel. They're going to hate Captain Marvel no matter what. They're going to go see the movie, and let's just say hypothetically, the movie's really good. They're going to come out and find reasons to hate it. I have this mantra that if you try hard enough to hate something, you will. Like, it doesn't matter. So Captain Marvel's not out yet, but it has been seen by some reviewers. And we call these reviewers access media. Access media. And what does that mean? You may have heard this term, access media. A lot of you probably know what that means. Maybe a few of you don't. Access media are essentially bought and paid for stooges. Now, they don't actually make money. You'll hear a lot of them. They'll defend themselves. Oh, I don't, they'll mock the criticism and be like, oh, I'm in that Disney just bought me a new car. And like, no, you're not actually getting checks, right? What's happening is this new form of media, this new form of bribery is in the form of access. They get invited to premieres, parties. They get special the interviews and things like that. Now, if you want to be on this list of media types that get this access, Well, you got to play ball. If you don't play ball, you suddenly find yourself on the outside. And then you have to be like everyone else. You have to you don't get free passes to see the movie. You have to go see it on opening day. You don't get to see it a couple weeks early. Well, if you're a website or a magazine or maybe a TV station or something like that, that's going to hurt you really bad if you don't have that information 2 weeks before, you have it 2 weeks later after your competition. Access is everything. And it's very insidious, this new form of bribery. And Access Media will deny. They will talk about how, oh, they don't get paid and they have their own. No, they don't. They get paid. This is payment. This is a form of indirect payment, right? Because the payment comes on the back end. The payment comes on the success. If you're running a YouTube channel and you have lots of hits, it's because you have this special access, Groups like Collider, a YouTube channel that I used to follow routinely, they get access to the premieres and special behind-the-scenes stuff and interviews with, staff and talent, things like that, because they play ball. But I used to watch them all the time joke about all the accusations, and I bought into it at first, but it's true. And you can see by how all of these guys collude and sort of regurgitate the same things. If you look at all the people that you would think would be Access Media, and it's not hard to tell like who they are. They all say roughly the same things. They all have roughly the same opinions all the time. So there's one good thing that's coming out about this whole Rotten Tomatoes bullshit, is that you can maybe help determine who is a legitimate critic and who's not. And I want to point out something too. Look at Captain Marvel right here. It's 84%. A lot of people I'm seeing on social media are criticizing this and saying, oh, Rotten Tomatoes is a shill site. And make no mistake, Rotten Tomatoes is a shill site, but not in the way that it's being purported. Rotten Tomatoes does not rate movies. Okay? They don't have staff that go out and see the movies and rate them and stuff. This score that you see is not Rotten Tomatoes score. Rotten Tomatoes is an aggregate site. What they do is they collect information from other reviewers. These reviewers are reviewers all around the world. Some of them are big-time reviewers. That means they work for like a news outlet. Like, maybe they work for a news station or they work for a newspaper, a magazine, or a big website or whatever. Those are considered cream of the crop reviewers. Then pretty much anyone else that does reviews professionally, let's say you run your own website, you can register to try to become a certified reviewer. And then if you're not one of a registered, critic, you still have your audience score. Your General Joes can give their information. And Rotten Tomatoes collects that, and they show the data, what they've collected. Now, these reviewers can be shills, which will affect the score, and the score is a shill score. But it's not Rotten Tomatoes manipulating the score. This fresh rating is a percentage of the reviewers that rated the film positively, which means it got a 60% or higher. So understand what that means is that you could have a film come out that's kind of mediocre, but if 100% of critics agree that it's sort of good, it's okay, it's decent, not great, but 100% of them agree with that, it would get a 100% rating, right? Now, most of us look at 100% and go, oh my God, that's an amazing film. That's not what that means. You really should just look at the freshness. Is it 70% or above? It's probably a good film or a decent film. If it's below 60, worry about it. The audience score is similar. It's a percentage of users who have rated the movie 3.5 stars or higher. That's out of 5. So if you're, again, it's essentially like 60%, right? If you rated that high, then it counts as a positive rating. So earlier today, I was on Rotten Tomatoes when I was doing my original review, and I wish I would have had a screenshot. I didn't. Or did I? Oh, I'll have to check. Well, I can't do it right now. I'm recording this live. So, man, I missed out. Anyways, take my word for it. There was a 40 right here. Now, here's what that looked like. I found a screenshot. I didn't have my own, but there was someone else who had taken a screenshot, and when it was at 8%. Now, this was probably very early when the scores first came up, and so these numbers are really skewed. When I saw it, it was 84-40. And then I came back later, and it was gone. And so I posted it on Twitter. I was like, what the hell, Rotten Tomatoes? Here's my post. 40%. Now, this is where Rotten Tomatoes shills. This is how they affect things, by skewing the data and hiding stuff. Now, they would have you believe that this number's, it's not here. Go see the movie. I'm sure like Disney made a phone call and was just like, what's going on? Because Rotten Tomatoes is owned by Fandango, and Fandango is headed by ex-Disney executive, is their CEO. So I'm pretty sure that there's some, connectivity back there, some collusion. Again, it's all my opinion, suspicion. I don't have any facts to back that up, but that's seems to be strongly the case. And I know this was a 40%. I saw it, and it's gone. Why would that be? Well, because Rotten Tomatoes is trying to shill for this movie for whatever purposes, whether Disney is asking them to, or because they're part of this weird feminist agenda. I don't know. But why? Your name is Rotten Tomatoes. The term Rotten Tomatoes comes from the old days where people would literally throw Rotten Tomatoes at performers on stage when they wanted to boo them off stage. The term Rotten Tomatoes is negative feedback, right? It's not about cheering on something and being positive. It's about, boo, we don't want to see you. Like, there can be no better analogy to Rotten Tomatoes, throwing Rotten Tomatoes, than review bombs. Review bombs are the Rotten Tomatoes of today. And yet the site Rotten Tomatoes won't have any of that. If you can't do anything positive, you don't get to be counted. Now let's see. They brought back their want to see score thing in this new little button down here. It used to be you click, I want to see the film, or I don't want to see the film, and it would show the percentage. Now it has this. Let's see what happens when you click on it. Oh. I don't have an option to say I don't want to see the film. I can only want to see it. But what are the people that don't want to see it? So here we go. This is an example of shilling. So it's 23,000 people want to see this film. There could be 2 million people that don't want to see the film. We don't know, because they're hiding that data. See if I can. I don't want to contribute to this want to see. I can't change the score. So now you can see I've contributed to the want to see statistic, and I can't undo it. I accidentally clicked here. I don't want to see this film. Too bad. This is Rotten Tomatoes. Their data is bullshit. They're bullshit. So I don't want to lecture you guys about how you do things or whatever. I am definitely against Rotten Tomatoes. I used to love them because I like this idea of an aggregate site. I like an idea of a middleman saying, look, we're not going to tell you our opinion. We're just going to collect the opinions of everyone else and present it to you and let you do with what you will. And I love that. I used to love, instead of just trusting a reviewer saying this is the best, I could look at in this case, 135 reviewers and get a tally of what their overall consensus was. And I felt like that was a much better aggregate. And then when Rotten Tomatoes bought Flixster and added the audience score thing, that was a second way to like add and get better user information. And I was like, great. This is great. This is what, as a consumer, I want. I want that information. I want to be able to speak out. I want to be able to hear other people's voices. I want that free exchange of ideas. But The problem with the progressive left and SJWs is they don't value exchange of ideas. It's cronyism. And when it doesn't go their way, they silence you. So they're all about pretending. Here, you can see an example. We're all about pretending that we're here to give you the information and we're for the voices, except when it doesn't go their way. It doesn't go their way. Well, got to backpedal there. So Captain Marvel's got an 84%. Understand something. I hear a lot of people being outraged by this for saying, oh, it's a conspiracy. Yes, there's probably a lot of access media that are inflating this view. It's not Rotten Tomatoes' fault. They're at fault for other things. But I'm hearing a lot of people already talking about review bombing. And they are review bombing. I mean, that's why they had the 40% audience score. And that's why you saw the 8% of the screenshot I showed you. Because people who haven't seen the film are trashing it. We got to be careful about this. Look, I'm not telling you to like this film. I want everyone to not go see this film. I don't even know if it's going to be good. It could be stunning, right? I don't think it will be, but it could be. And I'm going to keep my mind open to that. But yet I don't want you to see it anyway because I think the way they marketed this film, the way they've treated the consumer, you and I, is bullshit. And Brie Larson walking around and treating this as her soapbox to push her third wave feminism, her social agenda is bullshit. Telling, white men she doesn't want them to see their film. Fine, I won't see your film. Like, Disney should get a message. If this film bombs, it'll still exist. So let's just say it's the greatest Marvel film ever. If it bombs, it'll still exist. You'll still get to see it. And Marvel will keep making movies. However, if this film sucks, but we all go see it in droves because we're Marvel zombies, this same sort of shit is going to happen again. And they're going to push it again and maybe harder. Marvel movies are not in danger. And this movie is out. Where nothing's going to stop this movie from being made. But if it bombs, they'll go back to making the movies that they've always been making because those have worked and we've all loved them and we don't lose anything. So I am 100% all about you guys don't see this movie. But don't review bomb it. Don't, or if you do, just understand that you're in the same, if you're accusing people of shilling the film and inflating the numbers artificially, you're doing the same thing, deflating the numbers artificially. So do with that what you may. I'm not here to tell you how to do things, but I don't want to lecture anyone. But just consider that. There's different ways to make your argument. There's different ways to make your stance on things. Like I said, I'm against Rotten Tomatoes. Speak out about what Rotten Tomatoes is doing. There's plenty of things like this jacked up want to see. Fandango's complicit. Check this out. Let's say you want to go see Captain Marvel. Like, oh, I'm going to go see Captain Marvel. This is powered by Fandango, by the way. You're like, okay, it starts on Friday, March 8th. Let's go see. Well, there's plenty of showtimes, as you'd imagine, right? Now, some theaters, like this one, I live in San Diego, so these are going to be all San Diego theaters. There's the Grossmont Center 10. Oh, look, it shows a bunch of movies just like I'd expect Fandango to show. Here's a theater that I go to sometimes, Edwards Ranch. Wait a minute. Are they only showing one film? They have 15 theaters. Where's the other films? Poway 10. Wait, they have 10 theaters. Where's the other films? Now, the Ken Cinema is an independent theater, so they only show like weirdo films. Edwards Mira Mesa, Stadium 18. Where's all their films? The Angelica. Oh, okay. Now, Angelica was only showing the Marvel earlier, but they've apparently backed down from this bullshit stance. So you can see here most theaters are only showing AMC. A lot of AMC theaters are this way. This is part of... Have you ever seen this in your life? Have you ever seen this sort of conspiracy This is a conspiracy, by the way, by definition. To be like, on Friday, we will only sell tickets. This is Fandango, by the way. The Fandango that I don't know if they're outwardly denying that they're complicit with Disney, but that theory that I told you about before about how their CEO is ex-executive of Disney, people sort of connecting the dots. Well, this is connecting the dots a little stronger. Why, Fandango, would you be only pushing this move? What if I want to go to AMC Fashion Valley 18 and see Alita? I want to buy tickets for Alita. I can't. Oh, I can buy it at this theater, though. Town Square 14. I don't know who owns that. But AMC, for some reason, AMC Plaza 14, I can buy a Madea movie. Maybe they didn't want to outrage the black community by not having their film on. I don't know. I mean, I can only speculate. So this is non-AMC. They're showing. So you can see this is certain theaters seem to be making this decision. So apparently it's not a Fandango issue. It's certain theaters. Again, AMC, only one show. AMC, one show. You get 10 theaters, one show. And you can tell it's just in one theater because look at these show times. Maybe it's two theaters. 3:30, 4:30, 7. Yeah, so 2 theaters out of 10 are showing this movie. Such a joke. This movie, the more you look at it, the more you open your eyes, you can't help but see that there's this massive conspiracy and they're pushing the social agenda on you, because if this was just a normal movie, they didn't have to do this with the Avengers. There's been, 22 Marvel movies out? They've never done this. They've never done this with any movie that I'm aware of. Just this one. Why didn't they do this with Alita? I don't know. And this is also something interesting. So Rotten Tomatoes says, well, we got rid of our want to see rating because it's a big internal change. Lie. They didn't get rid of it. They just went in and someone else exposed the code elsewhere. I don't have that information, but I saw on social media where they showed pictures of the code. All they did was put a few lines of code in there to block it being shown. It's still in there. And here's proof that it's still in there, because the idiots at Rotten Tomatoes forgot to block where other sites pull that data for them. Like, so for Fandango pulls that data. So here you could see it elsewhere. You just can't see it on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's so stupid. So here we could see that there's a 41 want to see rating for Captain Marvel, which is really good compared to the 27% it was down to when they pulled the plug. But then you have to remember, oh, wait a minute. You can only put, yes, I want to see now. You can't put no. So obviously that number is going to go up because the only thing you can do is put plus, not minus. So this is a fake rating. It's so stupid. So stupid. Even with only being able to say, yes, I want to see it, it's at 41%. This is a joke. So I don't want this to run too long. It's long enough. I would thank you for joining me. There's plenty of other drama going on that people are covering really well. Friends like Ethan Van Sciver, comic artist Pro Secrets, you may know him as, does a great show on this. He's covering this all the time, covering all the different behind the scenes stuff and the media bullshit. I just wanted to weigh in because, like I said, everyone's doing it. And I figured, you know what, I might as well have something to say. And if you didn't want to hear what I had to say, well, you didn't have to click on my video. I figured, and I'd put something out there and see if you wanted to watch it. This way I also get to hear what you guys have to say as well, because now that you've heard me, you can go type in the comments below. Say what you want to say. Are you looking forward to Captain Marvel? Are you not looking forward to Captain Marvel? Do you think I lectured you too hard? Do you think that wasn't my place? Again, my intent was not to lecture anyone. I just wanted to share a perspective and let you take that perspective as you will. I very much believe in live and let live. And I like to hear what other people's opinions are. I like to hear other people's perspectives because often other people's perspectives change my own. And I like to, it's good. It's good to converse and communicate and think outside the box and not live in echo chambers. So say what you have to say below. If you find value in my channel or my videos, please like and subscribe. I do have a Patreon. You can find me Patreon, Ashon Comics. Information should be in the text box below. And I also have a Discord channel, which if you don't know how to find it, it's Ashon Comics. If you don't know how to find it, give me a shout out. I will get you the information. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.